Good evening, class. This is Mrs. Albright, and tonight we are working on Module 3, Lesson number 15. And our objective this evening is to understand and solve division problems with a remainder using the array and area model. So make sure you have a piece of scratch paper or a whiteboard so that you can work through these problems right along with me. Let's get started. So for our first problem is 10 divided by 2. And if we were to solve this as an array, I would take the number that I'm dividing it by, which is 2, and I would start by making 2 rows. And then I would keep adding dots until I got to a total of 10 dots. And then you can see these 10 dots are divided into groups of 2. So this is my array model. And when I look at this, I can see that 10, when it's divided by 2, I end up with 5 equal groups, and I don't have any left over. Now, if I were to put this on graph paper, I could do the same thing. Using my graph paper down here, I can color a box that is 2 wide by 5 long. So when I have 2 times 5, we've already worked on area. 2 times 5 is 10, and you can see I have a total of 10 boxes within this box. So when I divide 10 by 2, I end up with 5 groups of 2. So when we don't have a remainder, this is pretty easy. So what we're working on through the rest of this lesson is to figure out what do we do with those remainders or those leftover units that don't divide out evenly into our groups. So here we have a problem, 11 divided by 2. So I'm going to start in the same manner. I'm going to use my array model. And I'm going to start by making 2 rows, and then I'm just going to keep adding dots until I get to 11. Now you can see that these do not divide out evenly. I can make equal groups of 2, and I end up with 5 equal groups of 2, but then I have this 1 unit left over. So my answer to this problem is 5 equal groups, remainder 1. To trace this on graph paper, I would start by doing my 2 wide, 5 long. So there are my 10, my 5 groups of 2. And then I would add that extra, that 11th unit, my remainder 1, right here on the end of my area model. So again, this is the array. This is how we show it with an area model. And the reason we call it an area model is because we're using that area formula to figure out how many units fill in this whole space. It is 2 by 5. 2 times 5 gives me 10 altogether. This problem is a little bit larger. We can still use dots to help us. This one is 38 divided by 4. So I'm going to start by making 4 rows, and then I'm going to continue adding my dots and counting until I get all the way to 38. So I already have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38. So I have 38 dots, and if I'm dividing this by 4, I need to see how many equal groups of 4 did I make. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 9 equal groups, and I have 2 remainders. So my answer would be 9, remainder 2. To trace this on graph paper, I would do it very similarly. I would trace 4 down the length, and instead of counting out all those boxes, it's easier to use your multiplication facts and think in your mind, 4, I know I need 38 altogether, but I know that 4 doesn't multiply by anything to give me a 38 evenly. So I want to ask myself, 4 times what number would get me close to 38? And I know that 4 times 9 is 36. So I can use an area model and create an area model with 36 blocks. 1, 2, 3, By tracing a box that is 4 by 9, that gives me 36 here. And then all I have to do, 37, 38, add those two remainders. So here I've got my 36 by multiplying 4 times 9. And then I have the 2, my remainder of 2. It is your turn to try it. Your first two problems are 16 divided by 3 and 23 divided by 4. I'm going to get you started with the first one, 16 divided by 3. The first step is to look at the number that you're dividing it by and start by making that many rows, and then keep counting up until you get to all 16. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And remember, when we are dividing, we are making equal groups. So here I'm seeing how many equal groups of 3 can I make out of 16 units, and what would my remainder be? When you are using your arrays or creating area models, it's really important that you keep your dots lined up in nice, neat rows. So I have 3 horizontal rows, and then I end up with 5 vertical rows. So make sure you're being nice and neat. Work these out on your scratch paper or whiteboard, and bring any questions you have about this material back to class. We will continue working on it tomorrow. Have a great night.